about, while we are
Yes,
on the
we're on the
topic
subject of
beer.
Yes, this was getting us to that topic. So yes, let's talk a little bit about Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah. Because we recently released a video about Bud Light where I broke down in detail how ESG factored into this. And we do know that the company is really infused with ESG at all levels. There's a 2021 report from the company on like how committed they are to ESG. It's like literally, it's like a 120-page PowerPoint presentation called the Environmental, Social, and Governance Report 2021. I'm sure there is one from 2022, but I haven't found that yet. But I have one from 2021 where all of the CEOs and everything speak about their commitment to the costs at all levels. Now, some of this is in terms of environment. That isn't too bad. But much of it is about like their basically social aspect of it. And that is basically if you are working for the company and you are white, or you need a talking to. You need some diversity training here, and you can forget all about promotions and everything. You need to bring in new people for that. New people that's going to give them ESG points. So yeah, ESG is absolutely part of the company. I do believe that swayed the decision to hire Scheid and her ilk in the first place. And of course, with them comes even more ESG brownie points marketing, with which you saw with a notorious spot with Dylan and everything that happened since. Now, the big news since we dropped this video is that HSBC has now gone out and they have officially downgraded the share from buy to hold. Now, the good news, to the extent of which there is any, is that they have not yet downgraded to sell, although that probably is next, considering that that the boycott it's not easing up. On the contrary, it appears to be escalating 1 month still in here. Yeah, cultured. What's your take on this entire situation?
You know, it's funny, but I think we've all kind of been expecting or waiting for the one thing, the inflection point, as you referred to in your video, to happen. The point at which everybody got frustrated with all of the things around them, and whether or not they understood, you know, what's at the core of it, whether it's ESG, the DIE, whatever that is. You know, they saw for themselves that there was a radical cultural engineering process going on, and you know. Of course, as you explained why that is, because of the financing aspects of things and the way modern businesses run, and this is a lot of modern business, we were just waiting for this type of event to happen. We saw shades of this before with Gillette, right, with the razor campaign that they put out there. We're probably going to see it with Levi's and their gender-neutral clothing campaign that's going on right now. But you know, it's the cheap 99-cent things that always seem to start these backlashes, an awakening, whatever you want to call it. So when you go messing with the working man's beer in the United States, in the heartland, as we would say, it's not too surprising that you would end up in this situation. And you know, whether you say about time or not, I feel like this is about time, and I think it's going to echo for a long time to come, because with them being downgraded, that's usually really more than a yellow light on a street light. That's usually a sign to sell. That's a full stop, and so they can say hold all they want. Anybody with any, you know, skin in the game is going to reevaluate the position. And I will never give financial advice, but I don't see recovery anytime soon, because they aren't willing to do the things or say the things that would enable a recovery. And I think this is just the beginning of these kinds of movements. I really do.
Yeah. No, actually, if they really wanted to, they could make a recovery, but they're not going to be able to do that because what they had to say that would cut them off from ESG permanently, and they're not ready to do that.
No.
But what I think is like this is an inflection point because it's such an easily replaceable product.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people that have a mild preference for Bud Light, but I don't think that's going to be like Star Trek versus Star Wars. Like if you don't have Bud Light, you have some course that'll do. That'll do the trick nicely. And what's so amazing here, where the Gillette thing failed, is that the parent company behind Gillette, they have so many products, and people were so pissed off with Gillette, and they were like, no more Gillette for me. I'm going to buy this one instead. And it's another one from the exact same freaking company. Oh, I'm going to need this, and this. Again, from the exact same company, from Procter & Gamble.
Yeah.
Well, the Gillette brand in particular lost like $7 billion or something like that. That ain't nothing for the Procter & Gamble as a whole because people weren't informed enough to actually punish the company. What I think is so amazing here is that this time people are so pissed off that not only have they stopped buying Bud Light, but increasingly they went online to check, okay, my issue here isn't so much with Bud Light as it is with Anheuser-Busch. What other thing does Anheuser-Busch sell? And then they stop buying those things too.
Yes.
That's the real issue right here, that it goes beyond this one particular brand, but people are punishing the entire corporation.
Yes.
And for those who are wondering, what can we do to get out of this whole ESG thing? Well, this is the way. This is the way. How to do it is that you have to make it so that the cost of losing customers simply becomes too high. That it's far better for them. It's a better value proposition for them to restructure their business to the point where they don't need the ESG money than to have it and lose their customers. That is the situation that Anheuser-Busch is finding themselves in right now. They are losing so much money right now that in the short term, they need the ESG money more because there's less audience or less customers leaving money in the books.
Yeah.
But that's a short-term situation. What this actually does is that it forces them to, if not them, but everyone else. It lets everyone else see that you might suddenly come into a situation here where you have to structure your business in a way where you have to choose between do you want customers or do you want ESG? And ESG is not going to help without customers. Because here's something that people need to realize. A reason that many of these companies have been able to grow to the size that they have in the first place is because of the ESG money, or rather because of the credit lines, which since has become ESG money. But fundamentally, it's the credit lines that allows the company to take on risk and investments that they otherwise wouldn't be able to take on, which allows them to grow to such sizes that otherwise wouldn't be normal. But the cost of that is that they make themselves victims of the capital behind who lent them the money to get to that position in the first place. Maybe that is not a good thing. Maybe Anheuser-Busch shouldn't be as big as they are. Maybe no company should be as big as they are. Without all of this short-term lending, they wouldn't grow to these sizes. They would grow to the size that the market actually can sustain. And maybe that's where we need to be.
Yeah, all I know is that this is still an incomplete list of beers. There's 160 or over 160.
Yeah, these are just the bigger products.
I mean, it's everything that AB, InBev, whatever.
I'm just glad it's not Miller, because then I'd have to hear more about it.
Yeah, someone very helpfully. If you go and check out the video that I put out, someone very helpfully left a comment with everything under the Anheuser-Busch umbrella all over the world. I pinned that comment so it would be easy to find. That's a long freaking list.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I mean, it's not like this is anything new. Anheuser-Busch is really just doing, like I said before, with this whole, like, you know, trying to pretend to be the first ones to do this. They were the first ones to do this. Like 20 years ago, they already had.
Yeah, but those were jokes. Those were funny.
I know. I'm being facetious myself here. But the point is look, it's not like, I don't think, and a lot of these people are pointing out the same thing. It's not like anybody cares about, you know, that kind of a lifestyle. It's just, it's this massive swath of people just shoving it down their throats, right? And when you reach a situation like with Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light here, it is like the redneck beer of America, right? Like they sponsor every monster truck pull and race, and you know, like you're not really broadcasting to or advertising to your demographic here. I mean, and at this point, if I was any of the other beer companies, I'd be laughing my ass off, and I'd do my best to try and usurp them. Because one thing Bud Light did have that Andre didn't touch on in his video, because I don't know how much you guys really get this over there, considering, you know, it's a completely different country, obviously. But I mean, I doubt Bud Light's even that popular there.
I don't even think we have it.
Budweiser and Bud Light were not just the king of beers. They were the king of advertising. And I don't mean just for beers. I mean the kings of like these guys for the past 40 years have been knocking it out of the park with their marketing. There are so many campaigns. That was what that thing I just showed you. They have had so many campaigns that have worked that, like, I forgot how many great campaigns when I was doing research for this.
I'm very glad you brought that up, Tom. If you check the private chat, I just put a link there, because the guy who's behind all of those amazing campaigns, this would be one Robert Lackey. He's the guy who did it for 20 years. He was the one managing the Bud Light brand. He was the one who designed all of those amazing, iconic campaigns. And he says here, brought or further disseminated by the Telegraph, it took me 20 years to build this brand. They dismantled it in a week, says man behind Bud Light's iconic ads. And that was then again marketing guru Robert Lackey. And he's the one who did all this. So he really was really was a marketing genius, something that Alyssa Heinrichside isn't. And it's like the funny thing, we brought like this interview, and what she said right there, all that stupid bullshit she said, if she had delivered all of that stuff like in a first week assignment in any marketing course around the world, she'd have failed. She'd have failed like the first module of the very first 1 week of course in Marketing 101. She'd have failed it. Because the bullshit she said had nothing to do with marketing.
I'm going to take culture through a quick memory lane thing here.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Budweiser. Easy one, right?
The Bud Frogs. Yeah, they were great, right?
I love you, man.
I love you, man. Yes, that was great too.
I love you too, son, but you're not getting my Bud Light.
That's right. Yeah, I love you, man.
What's up? That's just the last 20 years right there. Those are three very iconic. And the one I showed already. Yeah. Plus, here's the creme de la creme. This guy isn't responsible for this guy. But, I mean, come on. Who doesn't know of Spuds MacKenzie?
There you go. Or
that was predates him. And Real Men of Genius. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, these guys were the king of advertising, like I said, not just beers, but advertising. This is just, I never drank. I'm not a drinker, but I loved Bud Light and Budweiser's ads. I had the Spuds MacKenzie posters and stuff. Everybody did. Yeah. I can't imagine you didn't have this one, Culture.
I did.
Because my cousin did too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they went completely
I
down the drain.
I love that, right? And I mean, the guy put together iconic campaigns. I mean, he's not lying. He really was the man behind these things. And
Yeah, he's the one who built the brand.
yeah, unbelievable.
Clearly.
But look, it's bigger than this. I mean, the downgrade story is the one that hits the hardest right now.
Yeah.
And I think, and Andre, correct me if I'm wrong, but, and I already mentioned it, during my opening monologue about this, but I suspect that you're going to see more sell-off than you are people holding at this point.
Oh, hell yeah, obviously, because when the market says, because the analysts, they said we're going to downgrade it into a hold because we think that the situation is much worse than Anheiser-Busch lets on, then obviously to the market, this is a sell signal. And indeed, we keep getting more reports that sales are sinking. There's no stopping this. And you can also, what's also really telling to me is global CEO of AB InBev, which is the European or the Belgian parent company. They say, because he laid out the strategy, and that is later down in this article. I'm just going to read the quote from him, and this is the greatest bullshit quote I have ever heard. We will need to continue to clarify the fact that this was one can, one influencer, one post, and not a campaign, and repeat this message for some time. So basically, that is their way to get out of it. They're going to triple the spending into advertisements, and they're going to harp on the message. This was not a campaign. It was just one spot, one advertiser, and only one can.
Well, and that statement just shows you they've lost already.
Exactly. I want to hear, before I dissect the minutia of that statement, I just want to hear your take on it. So, Tom, you're not evidently not too impressed with it.
No, that the fact that they even had to address it in that way tells me that they've lost. I mean, there was another way to address it with using almost the same type of terminology, but just saying it wasn't even like a commercial or whatever, you know what I mean? It was a contest. It was to celebrate, it was a, how do you put it? Because Dylan wasn't the only one to get one of these things. This is a thing they do all the time to influencers and stuff like that. I mean, they could have just played it off like it was never a part of their main. They were never planning. I would have been more like, no, there was never a plan to have Dylan be the spokesman for Bud Light. Anybody who was insinuating such a thing was talking out of their ass and such like that. It's just, he'd been better off just saying, look, Bud Light's for everybody. But was Dylan ever going to be a spokesman or anything like that? Is there going to be a campaign? No. It was a one-off deal, and it got bigger than anybody thought it could be. It was just a one-time deal, right? I don't get it. The way they addressed it almost makes it worse.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I'll get right back to that.
Yeah,
culture. Your thoughts on this statement and their strategy?
In briefly, because I have to leave to get my own show set up. But I'll say this: this particular this statement is tone deaf. It's the same thing that their recovery marketing campaign has tried to do, which is just gloss over something that they can't. They're treating the audience like they're stupid. The audience is not stupid. You can't treat people that way. You've already treated them that way, and to insinuate that there isn't broader themes going on within your company that is in support of whatever these agenda items are is insulting. And your audience is not stupid. Your consumer is not stupid. The people who are your customers are not stupid, and your distributors aren't stupid. They see it in their wallets. They're getting destroyed. Can you imagine being a beverage distributor and you only sell the 80 different products that are available from Anheuser-Busch? That's all you push out of your warehouse. Yeah, I mean, you don't have a competitor's product in there to put on shelves, to go out and send your guys to merchandise at your local convenience stores, your Walmarts, your groceries. No, these people are getting hammered, and how long until a beer distributor company is on the phone with another beer company? Hey, we do all this great marketing, da 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 da. How about we market some of your product too?
I guarantee that's already happened.
Yeah. So I fully suspect that they're going to have to pivot. It's just, at what point are they going to pivot? Because so far the momentum here has not slowed down. You've seen the decrease in sales since this happened over a month ago now, and those numbers are getting farther and farther away from performance.
Yeah, the decrease is increasing.
Yeah. And that's unheard of, right? And people want to look at the stock price, and recently it just had, this is a technical term, but the pattern analysis for it is a double top. Everybody looking at the stock is looking at the performance outlook. It's got a long road to hoe. I mean, they're going to be sitting in this hole for a while, and the hole's only going to get deeper. And they have to look, if they want to recover, they have to do as you suggested, Andre, and actually apologize and remember who their customers are, and sort out their financing in another way. Because honestly, until they do that, and they aren't looking for the stopgap or the gap filling financing that they need, to stay in the black. I mean, I don't know. If I were
that, or they just need to back up a truckload of money to Robert Latchkey's house.
Yeah, but he would have.
That's true. He couldn't help at this point.
Yeah, well,
I was being facetious, but yeah.
But he might be able to. I mean, I would take that on as something that could definitely help. But that would come with a lot of uncomfortable things that would be tantamount to an apology, essentially. Again, this CEO.
Well, that's the biggest problem in his statement is there's no apology, and the way they put it out there, it almost sounds transphobic. I hate to say it that way, but it does. It almost sounds like the way you said it was worse than anything else you could have said.
And there's two sides to that.
Sorry,
because,
culture,
one thing.
You finish your point, but yeah.
No, I was done, mate. Basically, go ahead. And I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andre.
Because you are quite right, Tom, that this is soft distancing from Dylan Mulvaney. So it's like apologizing without
then it sounds soft transphobic. I'll say it.
Exactly. But it does. And that is why you now have like gay bars and stuff like that who are now boycotting them too. So you basically manage to piss off absolutely everyone. But even worse than that with this statement, I'm just going to repeat this statement one more time. We will need to continue to clarify the fact that this was one can, one influencer, one post, and not a campaign, and repeat this message for some time. And this is treating their audience like they're stupid, because he's basically going on like, this wasn't a campaign. Okay, and you know what? If you want to go by marketing terms and vernacular, then technically, no, it wasn't a campaign. But you know what it was? It was paid advertisement.
Yeah.
It was a paid advertisement, subcategory, social media advertisement and influencer marketing, and they spent as much money on this one spot as they would a whole other campaign. So was it a whole campaign with multiple commercials and advertisements and news and everything like that? Because that is what a campaign is. No, it was just this one thing. But this one thing they paid as much for as a whole regular campaign. So then him trying to say that it wasn't a campaign. Is that the problem? Like, you're really mincing words here. The issue isn't if it was a campaign or not. It was a paid advertisement where this functionally became the spokesperson for your brand. That's the issue. And if that happened in a campaign or in one social media integration, who the fuck cares?
Again, it's beyond me that they think that, people are going to care about the difference in the language. Everybody knows what this was, and you paid this person to do this, and it's technically not a campaign, but it's an advertisement, as you mentioned. Look, nobody's going to be fooled. And again, with that being said, I do have to dip out, but I want to say thank you again, Andre. Your video today, you and Tom, what you guys worked on and put out is incredible. So if anybody hasn't seen that yet, Andre is going to walk you through the entire reason that this is happening, just from the beginning and all the way up through now, and he does it masterfully. And we need more of that kind of analysis, not less. So do support that video if you can, guys. Thank you. See you soon.
Take care, Culture. We did have a super chat for you earlier. You missed in
really?
between the Interium. They're convinced
go
that
ahead.
your hair actually grows you instead of the other way around. So.
Oh, wow. No, I was born just like everybody else. Anyway, have a great day, guys. I'll see you later.
That's what they keep telling him anyway.
Hey, stop it.
Yeah, I know. With friends like these.
With that,
but yeah,
let's carry on with these super chats.
Let's start with the ones that have to do with this business, and then we'll go back to the top. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, I have a different take on the statement. I think that it's tone deaf because they didn't read the room. Not everyone is aware of this stuff as we are. Yes, that too. Well, even to us, like I said, even to me, like, again, I'm not somebody who usually jumps to those kind of conclusions because I was just talking to somebody in the chat about, Griffin, about how, we're so used to those terms being thrown around. But no, the way they did this, and I can totally understand why the gay bars and what backlash they've had from both sides. It's like they handled this horribly. It's like if they could write a book about how not to handle this shit, Bob Iger and Bud Light would be the first two chapters. Or Bob Chapek, I should say, actually. But you know what I mean? Like, that's exactly how you don't handle these situations. I don't know if you agree with that, Andre, or not, but yeah.
Oh, I agree completely. You summed it up perfectly.
Yeah. And then ActionCom says, speaking of Budweiser, do you know the history of Adolphus Busch family? No, I don't. He had so much money, he was able to buy a full-size 1-to-1 dollhouse for his daughter. What a fall. Oh, now I do kind of remember this now that you say that. Yes. Oh, yeah. When you got way too much money.
Yeah, we'll have to get back to that in a later video, but thanks for the history lesson.
Yes. Speaking of history, Big Daddy MRI says, I only drink Trappist beer from the monks in Belgium. Chimay, Westmalle, Trappists. How do you say that? Trappists?
Trappist.
Trappist?
The Trappist Roquefort. That's actually one of my personal favorites as well. I love me some Trappist Roquefort.
I figured you knew what it was. I didn't say you like it necessarily, but yeah, the occasional Shiner Bock. That is about it. Well, see, now you and Big Daddy MRI could probably drink together.
Yeah.
See,
Big Daddy MRI is a man of good taste when it comes to beer.
Yeah.
Trappist freaking rocks.
Yeah, and then this is one that wasn't a super chat, but Mara Carlisle. I wonder if you are a younger individual because they say, wasn't that scene in the Scary Movie the "What's up"? That's what they were making fun. That's how hardcore Budweiser's advertising on that campaign penetrated the pop culture. They actually had that in Scary Movie. If that makes sense. So
yeah. It makes perfect sense.
Like, that's what I was trying to say. Like, these guys do what they were doing. And then ESG says, I can't say that, Tom. I know. To my explanation of what to say. And then Tommy Reviews says, the canary in the coal mine for Bud Light, the cringy ads with Amy Shamu. Yeah. And that hack Seth Rogen. I forgot about those. That's right. I'm glad my state beer Yuengling, if I say that right, hasn't gone wrong. I wonder if that one chick was behind those ads too. The Amy Schumer and Seth Rogen bits. I totally forgot about those. So that hasn't helped their image either. And then Darius Munchausen says Slurms McKenzie was a parody. Evidently, I guess I don't know what Slurms McKenzie is, but it must be a parody of Buds McKenzie, I'd imagine. I'm not getting the reference to what it's from. And then let's see here. What else do we have on the beer front? Let's see here. Alexander Diaz says, dang, missed the message about how poor the family that founded Budweiser managed it. There's a great book about it. Oh, well, we'll have to check into that. And then Alejandro Diaz also sent in CRC. That is that's Croatian krona, isn't it?
I think so. No, that has an H in it.
Oh, okay.
I don't recall exactly what.
I'm
that
not
is
sure what that
right now.
is. Offhand. CRC.
Not recall that one in this.
I thought you would know. Oh, it's Costa Rican colon.
There we go.
Oh,
There
wow.
we go. I figured it would be.
Thank you
would
for
be
listening
somewhere in that
in
region.
Costa Rica.
Muchas gracias.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, we did get the history lesson. And thank you again.
Tom, I have to drop out for 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Sure, I'll just keep going with super chats. No problems. And then we've got, let's see here. Any more according to this? Here we go. So here's another one from Eduardo Guerra from Mexico. Says, send all InBev, Corona, Modelo, etc. back south of the border on discount, please. Greetings from Mexico City. Well, thank you for listening in Mexico. There you go. And maybe it'll be on discount before too long.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There, you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe, and join us.